Good morning, 365. Shake my hand. We're back to our morning routine. Today is Saturday, the 22nd of January. We are technically on episode 11 of the podcast today, chapter 13 of this book. This book only has about 17 chapters. So, like I said, we will be done with it by the end of this weekend, if not Monday. If you're joining us for the first time, we're looking at the Science of Getting Rich, right, by Wallace D. Wattles. I assure you, I implore you, this is a brilliant book. It is a must read. It is a must have in your library. Please make the time to actually go through all our previous episodes, episode 1, 2, 3. On the YouTube channel, it starts from episode 2 because that's chapter 1. On Spotify, episode 1 on Spotify is just an introduction of the podcast. So please stay tuned for more. After this book, we are doing the next best book ever. Right, Richest Man of Babylon. There's a great story behind this book and why I've chosen it next, because I want to make sure that the podcast is also thematic, right? So now that we've got our thinking right, now we need to get some practical do's and don'ts in terms of building finance, right? So I got this book for the first time when I turned 21 years old. So that was about 10 years ago. But yeah, I'll break this down. So this is our book for end of January into February. It looks like we might get away with doing 2 books per month in the podcast, which I think is fantastic. Right, so yesterday we spoke about efficient action, the need for efficient action. And really, the author was very clear. There's no need for me to spend too much time recapping. But if I can just give you this one quote: every inefficient act is a failure. And if you spend your life doing inefficient acts, your whole life will be a failure. The more things you do, the worse for you if all your acts are inefficient. On the other hand, every efficient act is a success in itself. And in every act of your life is an efficient one, your life must be a success. The cause of failure is doing too many things in an inefficient manner and not doing enough things in an efficient one. And just to pause right there for traders, if you follow me holistically, you'll know I am a financial markets trader, stock investor, crypto enthusiast. I love all things financial markets. It's pretty much where my heart, skill, passion is around. And the next chapter is actually very much important for your individual passion or for the right sector, right business for yourself. And I cannot begin to emphasize what he just said right now. In trading, practice makes permanent, not perfect, permanent. Many inefficient actions over a large period of time create a permanent habit. And if the actions are inefficient, well, according to the author, not Leroy, it's a big, massive failure. In trading, trust me, every single rule you break will lead to a loss. But it's not just a loss in your account. It's also habitual nature that if you don't change, will continuously create the need for more inefficient acts. So it was actually a very nice chapter that hit home. The chapter before yesterday's chapter was talking about acting in the certain way, acting where you are now, building efficiently where you are now. Before that, chapter 10 looked at the power and the use of will. We use our will to control our faith to maintain us in line with being as productive as possible around our thinking, our certain thinking. And finally, the statement of our syllabus, my favorite quotation from the entire book, which this author has brought chapter after chapter after chapter, is there is a thinking of stuff from which all things are made and which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspaces of the universe. Although in this substance, a thought in this substance produces the thing that is imaged by the thought. A person can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon the formless substance can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. In order to do this, a person must pass from the competitive and creative mind. He must form a clear mental picture of the things he wants with the fixed purpose to get what he wants and unwavering faith that he will get what he wants, closing his mind to all that may tend to shake his purpose, dim his vision, quench his faith, that he may receive what he wants when it comes A person must act now upon the people and the things in his present environment, right? So now we're up to date. Just a quick recap today, or at least in this episode, I'd love to do chapter 13 and chapter 14 with you, if that's okay. They're both quite short, and I just want us to keep us on track with the goal of the podcast, right? So I know it's 2 chapters today, but I think it's important when the chapters look very interlinked, because I've read most of these books before in my own life. I like to kind of like join 2 chapters together sometimes, right? So chapter 13 of the book, getting into the right business. Getting into the right. I just want to bring this water a little closer. Right. Getting into the right business. Success in any particular business depends, for one thing, upon all possessing in a well-developed state and faculties required in that business. With good musical faculty, no one can succeed as a teacher of music without good musical faculty. Without exceptional mechanical abilities, no one can achieve great success in any mechanical trade. Without tact and a flair for commerce, no one can succeed in the mercantile pursuits. But to possess in a well-developed state the faculties required in your particular vocation does not ensure getting rich. They are musicians who have remarkable talent and who yet remain poor. They are blacksmiths and carpenters who have excellent mechanical ability but who do not get rich. And they are merchants with good skills for dealing with people who nevertheless fail. The different faculties are tools. It is essential to have good tools, but it is also essential that the tools you should be used in the right way. The tools should be used in the right way. One man can take a sharp saw, a square, and a good plane and build a handsome article of furniture. Another man can take the same tools and set to work to duplicate the article, but his production will be a botch. He does not know how to use good tools in a successful way. The various faculties of your mind are the tools in which you must do the work which is to make you rich. The very faculties of your mind are the tools with which you must do the work which is to make you rich. It'll be easier for you to succeed if you get into a business for which you are well equipped with mental tools. This is why in February, we are doing a full module rather, on trading psychology for those of you who are traders. It's open to everyone, so 365 traders, but if you trade in a different strategy and you want to just learn about trading psychology, come get those mental tools. Generally speaking, you will do best in that business which will use your strongest faculties, the one for which you are naturally best fitted, but there is also limitations to the statement. No one should regard his vocation as being irrevocably fixed by the skills with which he was born. You can get rich in any business because if you have not the right talent for it, you can develop that talent. It merely means that you'll have to work your tools as you go along instead of confining yourself to the use of those which you were born. It will be easier for you to succeed in a vocation for which you already have the talents in a well-developed state. But you can't succeed in any vocation because you can develop any rudimentary talent, and that there is no talent of which you have not at least a small amount. You will get rich most easily if you do that for which you are best fitted, but you will get rich most satisfactory if you do that for which you want to do. Doing what you want to do is life, and there is no real satisfaction in living if we are compelled to do something which we do not like to do and fail to do what we want to do. And it is certain that you can do what you want to do. Your desire to do it is proof that you have within your power which you can do it. Desire is a manifestation of power. Desire is a manifestation of power. Napoleon Hill talks about a consuming, burning desire. L. Nightingale, desire, an obsession. He's brought up this issue of desire. Make your desire a definite purpose, right? So desire is a manifestation of power. The desire to play music is a power-seeking expression and development. The desire to invent mechanical devices is also a power-seeking expression and development. Where there is no power, either developed or underdeveloped, to do a thing, there is never any desire to do that thing. Where there is a strong desire to do a thing, it is proof that the power to do it is strong and only needs to be developed and applied in the right way. All things being equal, it is best to select a business for which you have the best developed talent. But if you have a strong desire to engage in any particular line of work, you should select that works as the ultimate goal, because you can do what you want to do. It is your right and privilege to follow the business or avocation which will be most congenial and pleasant. You are not obliged to do what you do not like to do, and should not do it except as a means to bring you to your desired work. If there are past mistakes whose consequences have placed you in an undesirable business or environment, you may be obliged for some time to do what you do not like to do, but you can make the doing of it pleasant by knowing that it is making it possible for you to come to your desired work. If you feel that you are not in the right vocation, do not act too hastily in trying to get into another one. The best way generally to change a business or environment is by growth. Do not be afraid to make a sudden and radical change if the opportunity is presented, and if you feel after careful consideration that this is the right opportunity. But never take a sudden or radical action when you are in doubt as to the wisdom of doing so. There is never any hurry on the creative plane, and there is no lack of opportunity. There is never any hurry on the creative plane, or there is no lack of opportunity. When you get out of the competitive mind, you will understand that you never need to act hastily. No one else is going to beat you to the thing you want to do. There is enough for all. If one place is taken, another and a better one will be opened for you a little further on. There is plenty of time. When you are in doubt, wait. Fall back on the contemplation of your vision. You have your vision written down. You have to. Right, and increase your faith and purpose. And by all means, you see how close my stuff is to me. It literally goes where I go. If I go outside now to feed my dogs, I'm going to spend some time reading this out to them, right? I'm going to feed the dogs and come back inside. It's still like 7 a.m. Yeah, so it's time for me to go give them some breakfast. I carry this with me all the time. At the back, I tick the number of times I've read it, so that I know it's time to write a new one. Keep your vision close and continuously build, right? Build some faith and purpose back into it. And by all means, in the times of doubt and indecision, cultivate gratitude. Remember, in the previous episode, I was teaching on the law of polarity. Let me not say teaching. I just introduced it, right? I'll teach on it properly. The law of polarity is important to even you out during the universal law of rhythm, that there's absolutely nothing you can do during the tough times than to ground yourself in a spirit of being gratitude, right? Of being grateful. A day or two spent in contemplating the vision of what you want and in earnest thanksgiving what you are getting, it will bring your mind into such close relationship with the infinite that you will make no mistake when you do act. Please note, things that are generally repeated by such great authors are of the most importance. So this idea of gratitude, number one, this idea of it bringing you in close harmonious relationship with the infinite and how it is powerful in cultivating and keeping your faith is something to take heed of. There is a mind which knows all there is to know. And if you have a deep gratitude, you can come into close unity with this mind by faith and purpose to advance in life. Mistakes come from acting hastily, right? In fear or in doubt or in forgetfulness of the right motive, which is more life to all and less to none. As you go into the certain way, opportunities will come to you in increasing numbers. You will need to be very steady in your faith and purpose to keep close in touch with the supreme power through reverent gratitude. All that you can do in a perfect manner every day, but do it without haste, worry, or fear. Go as fast as you can, but never hurry. Remember that in the moment you begin to hurry, you cease to be a creator, you become a competitor. You drop back into the old plane again. Whenever you find yourself hurrying, stop. Fix your attention on the mental image of the thing you want and begin to give thanks that you are getting it. The exercise of gratitude will never fail to strengthen your faith and renew your purpose. Just so, because we're doing so well with time, I will read you the first paragraph of my 2022 daily, hourly, if I can, affirmations. It starts off like this. I am so happy. I create the right emotional environment for my affirmations. I am so happy and grateful. That's how I start. I am so happy and grateful that money comes to me in increasing quantities on a continuous basis. So I start off with gratitude and a state of happiness about my affirmation, or about affirming my future in the now. Now, I am so happy and grateful that money comes to me in increasing quantities on a continuous basis. So it never stops. I'm already grateful for that. I believe this is true. This is line 2, because it has already happened. So now what am I doing? I'm engaged in my thinking, purpose, my vision, deep in gratitude, linked with my faith. It has already happened. If it has already happened, I don't have to worry about it. If it has already happened, what I'm waiting for now is the physical manifestation, right? But the creative process is done. Okay, I will have 743,500 by the 20th of December 2022. This is in dollars. I've already told myself I am, not I will be. I am the best financial markets educator in Africa. I am the best financial markets educator in the world. I am the best financial markets trader, consistently profitable in the forex market, derivatives market, options market, futures market, stock market, and the crypto market. And that's the first paragraph of my affirmations. That's the first thing I tell me about me every single day. It is the first thing I tell me about me before I go to sleep. It is also one of the first things I tell me about me when I take my walks or take my breaks. It is absolutely important that I am grateful, I'm consistently happy, that I believe it, and I affirm it, right? So that's pretty much the end of chapter 13, by the way, where he's telling you that, listen, man, by all means, do not forget to keep cultivating this attitude of gratitude, right? And how it will to grind you. He also spoke a lot about getting to the right business, and that is going to be up to you to decide what that is. It was very clear to say the right business is the right business based on what you want. If you want to get into a business that you're not equipped for, if you are starting to realize that blockchain is going to take over and you have no idea what that is, then you have mental tools. Various faculties of your mind are the tools of which you must do the work, which is to make you rich. It'll be easier for you to succeed if you get into a business for which you are well equipped with mental tools. So you have to develop the mental tools. You have to love to read. You have to love to study that particular thing. But once you line up what you want to do and develop the actual mental tools for it, you can succeed, right? So I never thought, when I came to Rhodes University many years ago, I came to study law. And I did. I accomplished that goal. I didn't enjoy it. It didn't line up with what I wanted to do. It lined up with what I thought I wanted to do. It lined up with what my parents wanted me to do. So I did it. And then I went back and I was like, all right, fine. Now that I've gotten this out the way, that's not what I want to do. I want to be on the heartbeat, on the actual impulse of the richest market in the world. Well, that's the forex market. It's a $6 trillion per day capital market. It can make you rich like that. So all I did from that point in time years ago was to then focus my mental tools, right? I'm a lawyer. I like to argue. I like to read case studies. Shut that down. I need to acquire a whole new set of faculties, a whole new set of tools around financial markets. Loved it, learned it, mastered it, and now I am where exactly I want to be. All right, 365. You see this there? Why? Well, 365 for me means how long it took. So the years of studying, but how long it took for me to get my mind finally aligned with the tools and the skills I had to actually start to see a gain there. Anyways, chapter 14, which is our last chapter of the podcast. We are doing so well with time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Chapter 14 is the impression of increase. The impression of increase. Now, whether you change your vocation or not, you must direct your present actions to the business in which you are presently engaged. He's repeated himself. He brought this up in chapter 12. Act now where you are. Right, so you must direct your present actions to the business in which you're presently engaged. You can get into the business you want by making constructive use of the business you are already established in, by doing your daily work in a certain way. And insofar as your business consists in dealing with other people, whether you directly, by telephone or letter, email, whatever, the key thought of all your efforts must be to convey to their minds the impression of increase. This is so important. You guys will keep asking me, why am I doing this stuff? I'm doing it because I love, the 365 family. I generally do. 365 as an academy has always been one of my children. Like I really am so emphatically passionate about the academy, and that's because we are in 2022 right now, but I'm looking at my academy in 2040. I'm looking at the millions of lives I've impacted by 2040. I'm looking at that as my legacy, as my contribution to humanity. And so as a good father, not that I'm the father of students, but metaphorically, as the father of 365, my job is nothing but patience, watering, and growth. That's all it is. Right? The first time we made a six-figure trader, I lost my mind. I honestly lost my mind. Flew out to go meet him, like literally, whoa, so you really said through what I said, and you did what I said, and you did it, and you made it, and then we did it again, and we did it again. The creation and the testimonials, people used to WhatsApp and say, look, I've paid off my debt. Look, this has happened. The more of that, it just created the desire for me to want to do more, because I was actually making a difference. And some people, when you cross over an economic threshold, when you now have what you want and you can get what you want, sometimes, it doesn't happen to everyone, but for me, it was definitely right. How do we give back? How do we start to build? How do we systematically create a program to get people through this stuff? And it happens. I'm not the only one doing this, but for me, it is extremely linked to that. So the opening line in chapter 14, the reason why I bring this up is, whether you directly or by telephone or by letter, the key of thought of all your efforts must be to convey to their minds the impression of increase. That's all it is. That's why this podcast is here. Wherever you are in your life, there's room for growth. There's room for financial growth. You can always do a little bit more, because remember, he's already covered this issue about thinking about poverty and how to deal with poverty, I think in chapter 8. And thinking in a certain way that, listen, at the end of the day, if you want to eradicate poverty, you are going to have to formulate your desire for the things which make for a larger life, to get these desires arranged in a coherent whole. I'm reading straight from chapter 8, page 45. You must then, I know this book very in and out, you must then impress this whole desire upon the formless substance, which has the power and the will to bring you what you want, right? So it's very, very important that we continue amongst each other the impression of increase. Increase, as I continue with chapter 14, increase is what all men and women are seeking. It is the urge of the formless intelligence within them to find fuller expression. The desire for increase is inherent in all nature. It is the fundamental impulse of the universe. All human activities are based on the desire for increase. People are seeking more food, more clothes, better shelter, more luxury, more beauty, more knowledge, more pleasure, more life. Every living thing is under the necessity for continuous advancement. When increase of life ceases, dissolution and death sets in at once. People instinctively know this, and hence they are forever seeking more. The law of perpetual, the law, whenever he brings up laws, it's a monist. So remember, whenever he talks about a law, he's talking about a universal law, a universal principle. That is, it can't be faulted. It's almost like gravity, basically, right? So there is a universal law of perpetual increase. The law of perpetual increase is set forth by Jesus in the parable of the talents. I remember the story growing up. Now, only those who gained more retain any. For him who had shall not be taken away even that which he hath. So if you guys don't know the story, it's just real quick. There was a very rich guy. And so he was going to go away, and he called 3 of his servants, and he gave them what was then called talents. So think about it as an investment. He gave them $1, $10, one crypto coin, whatever. He gave them money, talents. He gave one 5, he gave one 2, he gave one 1. I might have gotten the numbers wrong, but the point is he invested however he saw forth, in each individual servant. And then he went away on his trip. A long business trip, a long whatever trip. And then the job of the servants was to go multiply this man's money. So if I give you 2 talents, 2x it, right? When I come back, make sure you've got 4. If I give you 5 talents, try and 2x it. When I come back, make sure you've got 10. If I give you 1, try and 2x it. When I come back, make sure you've got 2. And when he came back, long story short, the servants who had 5 brought back 10, servants who had 2 brought back 4, and he does a whole speech, you good and faithful servant, and this is what he's saying, the law of perpetual increase, your ability to continuously, and one day on my YouTube channel, I'm going to talk about the game of numbers in finance, right? Finance is just a game of doubling. That's all it is. You just have to keep doubling. You just keep doubling. You find $10, try and make it to 20. If you can make it to 20, make it to 40, make it to 40, make it to 80. Compound interest takes over. At some point in time, boom, you get into a head-on collision with compound interest, and before you know it, that money is great. But we'll do that exercise properly, right? But the point is, one of the servants who had just had 1 talent, right, 1 coin, whatever, did nothing. He went and hid it, buried it under the ground, and was just lazy and whatever. And the point here is, the law of perpetual increase is set forth by Jesus in the parable of the talents. Only those who gained more, the ones who actually multiplied the investment, right, retain any. Got to keep it. Because once you can perpetually increase, wherever you are, however little it is, more, it starts to cascade. From him who hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath, right? So the ones who, if you fail to honor this law, if you fail to increase where you are, because it does say, whether you change your vocation or not, you must direct your present actions to the business in which you are presently engaged. Like where you are right now in your life, there is enough where you are. I mean, I don't even just box it into business. There is enough where you are in your life. I saw a sad post the other day. You must remember, I'm an academic and I'm a leftist in most of my thinking, right? In fact, I want to create a whole other podcast, a reading club around anarchism. And so I understand the plies of the world. I understand the destruction of poverty. I thoroughly understand the ugly nature of capitalism. I understand it very well. If you read my master's thesis, if you read my academic publications, if you read my PhD thesis, you will see that I am completely engrossed in this world of the degradation of poverty in our society, specifically in Africa. I'm damn right an expert in that field. Right, and so one of my comrades wrote a sad post the other day. I think he's based in Botswana, and he was like, "There's some people in Botswana earning 2,000 bula, which is technically, rate to rate about 2,000 rands." And he said it's very insulting to tell people who are earning 2,000 bula to save and invest. Right, and from a leftist perspective, from a social constructivist perspective, from completely, I get it. They're earning too little. They're extremely exploited. And he's saying, where will they get the money to save? It's all you've got. Now, I understand that logic, that your budget is tight. The vele is not enough. It doesn't cover everything. But here's the thing. Inside that limited budget, and I know you want to fight me on this, but I can't change the science of getting rich. This is not me. I'm telling you what works. Inside your limited budget, your frustrated living conditions, your tight rent, tight fees, tight this, never have enough for this, constantly in debt, inside that is a seed There is a seed in there, and that's why you can't miss season 2 of the podcast. Every time we hit a new book, we're going to launch a season, right? So this is it, The Richest Man of Babylon, because he talks about this. Inside your $10, $1 out of every $10 is the seed for your financial freedom. It's called the 10% rule. L. Nightingale talks about the 10% rule. There isn't a single piece or source of income in my life that comes into my life from my trading, investing, whatever it is that I do. I always first pay 10% to my future. It's a biblical principle. It's the tithe and offerings thing. You pay 10% to the church if you're Christian, you're religious in that way. But the 10% rule is the foundation of everything. If 2,000 pula is already too small, and I don't want to get into that debate, if it's already too small, then I guarantee you losing 200 pula, which is 10% of that, I think won't make a drastic difference, right? You'll just make adjustments here, but after a year or two, compounding that brings massive gains. But let me not get too ahead of myself. But the whole point is, this is the law of perpetual increase. Your ability to turn little into slightly bigger, into slightly bigger, into slightly bigger is the only way you get that momentum going. It creates what we call a snowball effect of finances. And the more you do it, the first year is so tough, because in the first year, it's small increment amounts, and you're thinking, this will never make a difference. Right? Have you seen those people who put 5 rands in 5-liter water bottles? At the end of the year, those 5 rands turn into about 6,000-7,000 rands, right? Just depending on how they fall, but they can really stack up. Small increment amounts do this. Another one, have you seen the parable? I'll teach you on this about, should I give you $1 million today, or 30 cents that doubles every single day? 30 cents that doubles every single day. Most people choose $1 million today, not knowing that if they do the maths, 30 cents that doubles every day is a whole lot of money. A whole lot of money. Right. So the law of perpetual increase. All right. So the normal desire, as I continue with the book, and I'll try my best to shut up until the end now, the normal desire for increased wealth is not an evil or a reprehensible thing. It is simply the desire for abundant life. And because it is the deepest instinct of the natures, all men and women are attracted to an individual who can give them more of the means of life. In following the certain way as described in the foregoing pages, you are getting conscious increase for yourself, and you are giving it to all whom you deal. You are a creative center from which increase is given off to all. Be sure of this and convey assurance to this fact to every man and woman and child with whom you come in contact with. I'm doing my part now. No matter how small the transaction, even if it is only selling of a stick of candy to a little child, put into this action the thought of increase and make sure that the customer is impressed with that thought. Convey the impression of advancement with everything you do, so that all people shall receive the impression that you are an advancing man, and that you advance all who you deal with. Also give people who you meet socially the thought of increase. You can convey this impression by holding the unshakable faith that you are in the way of increase, and by letting this faith inspire, fill, and permeate every action. Do everything that you do in firm conviction that you are advancing personality and that you are giving advancement to everybody. Feel that you are getting rich, and that in doing so, you are making others rich, that you are conferring benefits of all. Very important. Now, do not boast or brag of your success or talk about it unnecessarily. True faith is never boastful. Wherever you find a boastful person, you find one who is secretly doubtful and afraid. Simply feel the faith and let it work out in every transaction. Let every act and tone look and express the quiet assurance that you are getting rich. You are already rich. Words will not be necessary to communicate this feeling to others. They will feel the sense of increase when they are in your presence, and you will be attracted to you. You must so impress others that they will feel that in associating with you, they will get increase for themselves. See that you give them as use value greater than the cash value you are taking from them. If you always take an honest pride in doing this and let everybody know it, you will always have customers. People will go where you are. People will go where they are given increase and supreme power, which desires increase in everything and which knows everything, right? Now we'll move toward you, men and women who have never heard of you. Your business will increase rapidly and you will be surprised at the unexpected benefits that will come to you. Okay, you will be able to make larger combinations to secure great advantages and go on into more congenital vocation if you desire to do so. The last page. However, in doing all this, you must never lose sight of your vision of what you want or your faith and purpose. Let me give you another word of caution in regard to motives. Beware of the insidious temptation to seek power over other people. Nothing is so pleasant to the unformed and partially developed mind as the exercise of power and domination over others. The desire to rule for selfish gratification has been the curse of the world. For countless ages, kings, lords have drenched the earth with blood in their battles to extend their dominions. They have not been engaged in an effort to seek more life for all, but to get more power for themselves. Today, the main motive in the business and industry world is the same. People marshal their armies of dollars and lay waste to lives and hearts of millions in the same mad scramble for power over others. Commercial kings, like political kings, are inspired by the lust of power. Jesus saw in this desire for mastery the moving impulse of that evil world, and he sought to overthrow. If you read 23 Matthew and see how he pictures the lust of the Pharisees to be called master, to sit in the high places, to be domineering over others, and to lay burdens on the backs of the less fortunate. Note how he compares this lust of dominion to the brotherly seeking for the common good to which he calls his disciples. Look out for the temptation to seek authority, to become a master, to be considered as one who is above the head, and to impress upon others lavish display. The mind that seeks for mastery over others is the competitive mind, and the competitive mind is not the creative one. In order to master your environment and your destiny, it is not at all necessary that you should rule over your fellows. And indeed, when you fall into the world's struggle for high places, you begin to be conquered by fate and environment, and getting rich becomes a matter of chance and speculation. We want the science. We don't want chance and speculation. Beware of the competitive mind. No better statement on the principle of creative action can be formulated than the favorite declaration of the late Golden Rule Jones. What I want for myself, I want for everybody. 365, everybody, shake my hand. Thank you so much for joining me on this podcast. I appreciate you. Today is Saturday. Traders, tomorrow, Sunday, we are having a live war room on our YouTube channel. 4:30 p.m. South African time. We're going to look over a couple of other assets. Yesterday, Friday, I dropped a war room, right? So please check that out, because I won't be covering yesterday's assets. I wanna cover everything, every single chart. There's a lot of money in the markets waiting for us. Right, so 365, shake my hand. I appreciate you. Thank you for following through. You know, Spotify is an anchor, actually, are extremely notorious for feeding me love data. So I can see that some of you guys are actually keeping up to date chapter by chapter. I can see that some of you guys are doing this thing every day, right? So let's keep the momentum going. By the end of the year, if we're lucky, we'll have done 12 books minimum. If we're super blessed, we'll have done 24 books. That's 2 books per month, which means you only know what you know. So you can only imagine what you will know if you stick with this journey with me. Shake my hand. I appreciate you. Have a beautiful weekend. Goodbye.